everyone. Welcome to the Good Enough Gaming Podcast. We're a group of 30-something nerds who are raised on a healthy diet of video games and superhero cartoons, get together and talk about our experiences in gaming pop culture. Join Daryl, Jordan, Kyle, and Trevor as we look at our gaming past, present, and future. Today's episode is entitled Time for the Way Back Playback. Close your eyes. Imagine a simpler time in life. You just got home from the video rental store with a couple of VHS tapes, a DVD, and a couple games in hand. Now on disc. You also picked up a couple piping hot grease wheels from your favorite pizza place. You finally got your hands on a case of Cherry Coke, and your buddies are coming over to shred some couch co-op games with you. Life is good. How vivid was that imagery?
This makes me so sad.
Now, tell me you're imagining the 90s without telling me you're imagining the 90s. Well, tonight we are feeling especially nostalgic, so pop a squat on the old beanbag chair, maybe the inflatable chair too.
Ooh.
Pop in your favorite burn CD and relax as we chat about the epic games of the 90s. Realistically, this God damn it. Sock and boppers. More fun than a pillow fight.
Wow, that is the hymn.
I know.
Oh yeah, it's burned.
Because I want to put
my arm back on. You can't.
Kyle
play safe.
Stay alert. Stay safe.
Also, commercials in the 90s were absolutely
God, guys.
Fire. That's when jingles. That was like the peak of jingles before they fell off.
Yeah.
Shit's burned into your memory.
So realistically, this episode could also be titled Only 90s Kids Remember. Because, 90s was our entry into gaming. And, if you look at the list, we posted one a little while ago of, the top games for each year in the 90s. It was just like banger after banger.
It was a great time to be alive.
I think the greatest thing is that most of these this is like the era when everyone tried everything, right? It was very creative. Everyone was just putting games together. Half these franchises still exist, right? Like these are the starts of like epic franchises.
Yeah. Yeah. And like some very, very like important titles too. Look back to like Mario Kart. And how like that has been around since the 90s, and we're still only on Mario Kart 8 somehow.
8 Infinite, whatever you look at it.
We're on
Mortal Kombat too.
Yeah,
let's go.
Like 1990 is Super Mario
6.
Is it like Super Mario World? And we're on. I don't even know what Mario we're on now. Like the new one just dropped, but if you numbered them, I don't know what they would be.
1996, Pokemon Red and Blue.
Ooh, like that itself is hard to contend with. Folks, I hope you're in for you're prepared for us to bounce around a bit here, because this is pure reminiscent nostalgia at this point.
Not only is it going to be nostalgic, it's going to be chaotic, because the tangents we're going to end up going on.
Oh my God.
Just the sounds. There's going to be a lot of like groans and like weird pleasure sounds.
Yoinks.
This is our ASMR episode.
Yeah, right. But where's your ear attachment for the microphone, Daryl?
Daryl's gonna start fingernailing, tapping things.
I like rusty spoons.
Gross.
Maserati.
Bentley.
Bentley.
That stupid chick on Instagram.
Bentley. Toyota.
Mercedes.
Holy shit. Let's get back on track here before we... Oh my God. Okay, so I wanted to bring up a few like very important ones for us. Did you know that like the original Warcraft released in 1994?
Yeah.
Was it like...
With Warcraft 2 coming out, I believe, in the early 2000s?
What was the first one?
My
Orcs.
first-
It was Orcs and Humans. Was it called?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that was it.
Humans
Yeah, that
came
was
out
the
in
original.
1994.
And it was
And-
awesome.
It was really
man.
good.
But then, like, but if you go
Warcraft
back
2
and look at the
was like-
progression,
Oh.
like you look at Warcraft, the first one, and then you look what they did with Warcraft 2,
Oh, they knocked it out of the park.
and then Warcraft
Yeah.
3, like insane improvements. Like that is the progression in a series that we really look for. You know, like games, they try new things, they added new things, but they still stayed very true to the core of the game.
What's StarCraft release day?
98.
Ooh,
It
late.
was for the first one. Yeah.
So that was also like the golden age of like RTS games.
I was gonna say.
Like
Oh.
between Warcraft, StarCraft, and Command and Conquer.
That was my introduction to PC gaming. I
Yeah.
didn't know that you could play anything but RTS games on computer. That's all I played as a kid.
And
I
like
remember-
if you went to any middle school, like kids were talking about it. Like
I
it was,
remember at one point, Kyle, you had here's a throwback for everyone. We had a floppy
Oh, boy.
disk.
Yeah.
Someone had essentially it was like the earliest form of pirating I can remember. And one of Kyle's friends, like put together this floppy disk. And I don't know if they were all demos or if it was just like super easy to pirate shit back then. Because I remember we had like Doom, like original Doom, Wolfenstein, and a bunch of just,
it was a
random ass
CD.
shit.
It was a CD.
I thought it was a floppy.
Yeah, it was a
disk.
CD.
Okay.
I know exactly what you're talking about. But like that was again, it had Wolfenstein. It had like a knockoff Wolfenstein that had Street Fighter characters in it.
Yeah, one of that like modded, like the early, everyone just modded the shit out of that
Weird.
game. So someone just
Yeah,
I made my own
yeah.
Wolfenstein.
Just so people are our younger listeners, a floppy disk is the symbol that is the save symbol on
Yeah.
all of your on all of your programs on Microsoft. But it was actually a disk like thing that
Yeah.
how much data did that hold?
Can't
I
be
think-
much.
Like a couple megabytes.
Yeah, like it was tiny.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do
Can we-
remember. Sorry, I
can
gotta
we-
go back while we were talking
Okay.
about this disc.
All right, take it.
I do remember my very first dungeon crawler though was on that disc. It wasn't even like you didn't see characters. It
Was
was
that the
like
type
little
to-
kind of. So it
Okay.
would give you like you would move through the map and it was just you were the green block and you were shifting through the map and you would find stuff you could like roll.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was an early dungeon crawler, but I think that was like a precursor to me loving D&D and a couple other games
That adds up.
because of that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Sorry, before I interrupted you, Jordan.
No, it's fine. Just Trevor's memory lane about floppy disks and burned CDs and stuff. Do you guys remember getting like Windows CDs of games or demos in cereal boxes as a kid?
Yes. Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like there were actually quite a few good games just from those that I remember playing too. Just you get Honey Nut Cheerios at the grocery store, and you get a kick-ass new game to play. That was awesome.
Shout out to Hasbro for like all those board game ones that they had. It was like every board game possible had the video game version, and the Life one was actually sick.
It was good.
Like the 3D,
Yeah.
the 3D
Yeah.
life. Oh,
Yeah, it was really good.
Okay. So to kind of keep us, I know we just had like a
just a quick-
diarrhea of
Yeah.
like nostalgia. I wanna try and like segment this into the major section. So like I think it would be important for us to talk about
Don't tell me how to
RPGs.
live my life.
Shut up! I'm the host.
Shut your mouth.
So I think in order to keep this episode cohesive and not a complete ADHD nightmare,
Wow.
I think
That's the
it
pot
would
called
be
the kettle black, isn't it?
I
Pretty
think
biased
it'd be
referee over
helpful
here.
if we keep them in categories so we can keep a cohesive thought for it.
Sure.
So I think RPGs is definitely one we need to talk about. I think about racing games and like race adjacent. I don't know why that sounds funny. Shooters, RTS, PC, and then maybe like a wild card. Does that work for you guys?
Wild card.
So we kind of started riffing on the RTS a little bit. Is there any that we missed? Like, I know we talked about.
I have one
Warcraft.
that's like not. I guess it's strategy or what a sim. I don't know. I still consider it an RTS game. Fucking Roller Coaster
Okay.
Tycoon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
1999, like start of an era, right? You got like kind of the intro of like The Sims. I mean, the Roller Coaster Tycoon franchise has been around for years. Everyone keeps trying to remake it. Like there's different coaster
It's
park.
never the same vibe.
no, it's always got too much now.
Planet Coaster's gotten a little close, but they just, I think it's just because with tech, right? They're like, we want to make cool, crazy shit, but it's just like it
Gets overwhelming.
gets out of hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let me make wild, insane roller coasters
Yes.
and just run a
And just
decently
shoot people off of it.
prolific
Yeah.
theme park. Like,
But
I don't need.
Yeah.
You could add in there two other big ones, Age of Empires and Civilization. Those
Yes.
both had sequels in the 90s. They both got their second game in kind of mid to late 90s. But those
Age of
are both
Empires
very
2 was like,
That's a great
and
game.
they're still remastered versions of
I
that.
was just going to say, like, it just got
Yeah.
remastered.
Didn't number
Yeah.
4
Well, it
just
shows you
come
how
out?
good
Didn't they
that
just make a
game
new
is.
one though? Like in the last year
They
or two? I
did.
thought, there was another one that they
Yeah.
made. Not as popular
I-
with like the Korean like StarCraft scene of like crazy ass StarCraft
Yeah,
typing
yeah,
your
the
name.
inter-
per minute.
The
Yeah.
internet cafes aren't exactly rocking Age of
Oh.
Empires, but
I remember the days.
yeah.
So RTS out of the way. I feel like we've done a couple deep dives with Jordan into his lengthy StarCraft obsession, and our Warcraft
Rightfully
3,
so.
right,
Must-
Warcraft 3 debacle.
Let's construct more pylons.
Have we talked about the fact that we ended up having to get our mom to buy more RAM for the computer because
I believe that has come up.
You
Yeah,
have
several
absolutely
times.
mentioned that.
okay. I always got to make sure because
That might be like
It's
a
so
season 1
ridiculous.
reference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
it's a throwback.
yeah. So obviously, if we're talking about like racers, Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo, Mario Kart for the N64, both of those came out in the 90s.
Now,
Yeah.
Mario Kart for Super Nintendo is kind of dog water. Like, it's not great.
It's
It's
not.
No, it doesn't hold up very well if you don't go back.
Like, it was good at the time, like, because there's not a lot of comparables, but like when I think of like the epitome of the kart racer, it's Mario Kart 64 is like the
Yeah.
one that always just jumps into my head
Yeah.
first.
I would say this lays the groundwork
Yeah.
for what
Gave us
Mario
a
Kart
franchise that
64
still
was.
exists.
Exactly.
Mario
It's-
Kart walked so Diddy Kong Racing could run.
Would you guys consider it's not really a racing game, but it just, I mean, it kind of sneaks in there a little bit, but like Star Fox.
I was
Back
going to
in
say
the
the
day.
same thing. Kind
Yeah,
of.
but I think
Flight sim.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
played the shit out of Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. I played that more than I played the original Mario Kart.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's like-
I would
that
agree.
it's a
felt
better
really good
game
to play.
between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then also laid like the groundwork for Star Fox 64 and the fucking Rumble Pack.
Oh,
yeah.
The Rumble Pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, which like, you know, the fact that you bought the game and you got the Rumble Pack with it, I like that technology now is just like, oh, my controller rumbles. It's, you know,
That's thanks to the Rumble Pack.
yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. And people loved it. So they're like, yeah, we need to do more of this.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that it was a throw in with the game. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't think anybody buys that on their own back then, because I mean, trying to explain to somebody on like a commercial what a Rumble Pack is designed to do, that'd That'd be
That sounds
impossible.
dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, like this. I'm not
Why
going to
do I
spend
want my
40
hands to
bucks.
feel the hit of the?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's
Yeah,
like the
it's
same
so
with
stupid.
what was it? Was it Donkey Kong 64? That came with like the little like the memory expansion, or where the fuck it was
Yes.
put into the front of your N64, the little
Give
red
you extra
grill
RAM.
thing. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was just RAM, but same thing.
But
Like
I think-
it came with the game because they had to.
Yeah. Well, I think Majora's Mask, you needed that as well, didn't you?
I think
Oh,
some of
so
like
there
the
was-
very end of life games with the N64,
Yeah.
they kind of assumed you had it.
Right.
Yeah, for some reason Donkey Kong needed it, which also a fantastic game. That was like a third-person shooter game, like shooting like coconut cannons and shit. That game was awesome.
Oh my goodness. Okay. There's so many categories we could go with here. There's one. I mean, there's one area of the first person shooter category that I think is largely gets forgotten, and is responsible for some of like the game engines that we see now. Is Unreal Tournament.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were going to say the South Park game.
No, I distinctly remember playing, like going to my friend's house specifically to play Unreal Tournament and playing online with people in like the 90s, early 2000s.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can imagine the internet connection that was keeping.
Yeah.
Mom,
Nobody
pick up
answer the phone. I'm playing Counter Strike.
And that was the other one too, was
Yeah.
Counter-Strike was so huge that, you know, kids in high school would go across the street to the internet cafe to play Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike's making a
Before we
comeback.
just pilfered the internet at Starbucks, kids, there was actually internet cafes that you had to go to and
Hey.
use people's computer.
And you had to
Yeah, you had
pay
to pay
for
to use
the
the internet.
Fuck.
The Quake was good too back
Yeah.
in the 90s. Like that's an underrated franchise.
There's one, so talking about that disc and like the weird demo shit that we got somehow. There's one that came out of sort of like that same, you know, Doom. Obviously, we have to mention Doom if we were going to discuss any sort of first-person shooter, because that was like the one.
Yeah,
But
I don't know,
there's-
Duke Nukem.
I was about to say.
Oh yeah,
Doom laid the groundwork. Duke Nukem was just like, fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
but games are called Heretic and Hexen.
I remember
It was
Hexen.
same sort of idea, but a little bit more like supernatural vibes to it than just like grab a gun. There was some sort of like a little bit of magic components too, and it really sort of took that Doom framework and really expanded on it. Can't remember if it was like actually 90s or not.
But you
Googling
can't, I mean,
right now.
we've been talking PC, but you cannot let go of, like, aside from Mario Kart 64, the other OG, like, couch co-op GoldenEye.
Yeah, no odd job.
One of the greatest,
Oh,
like,
Jeff.
No,
early shooting games ever. Like,
absolutely, and like that
go back
was
and play it. Awful. Fucking awful.
GoldenEye.
yeah.
But at the time, so good. Paintball
At the
mode,
time,
big
they-
head mode.
that had a stranglehold on the young teen boy and sleepover.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, GoldenEye all
Like
night.
it was just GoldenEye battles. Like, okay,
GoldenEye was the
we're
original Call of Duty. Like, it was
Yes.
like the
Yeah.
toxic game.
Yeah.
That
Except
was
if you
like-
said something really offensive, the person was right here and they were
yeah,
going
they
to
were
hit you.
right
Yeah.
beside you.
Putting
They
up
punch you as you were playing the game.
yeah,
putting up cardboard dividers on the TV so
Yeah,
you
no
can't
PCs.
see.
Switzies.
Yeah, so you can't peek screens.
Yeah, that's next level. That's
The
commitment.
solutions we had to come up with.
Yeah.
Hey man, modern problems require modern solutions, right?
These kids have no idea of what we went through.
Oh my god. Even just couch co-op in general, I feel like with like the heyday was N64.
Well, it was
Yeah.
like it was the one that could have 4 controllers. Like it was,
Yeah, and
the,
that was
it was
standard.
the
That was a
one.
big
Like,
deal.
That
Yeah.
was massive. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
playing
you had an
Smash
N64.
Bros. 4-player. Like
Oh,
that
yeah.
was huge back in the day too.
you had to buy the like expansion things for the controllers, like the different port adapters for like PlayStation and stuff like that if you were going to do that. And not every game could do it. Like a lot of them were 2-player only.
There's very few.
So you were stuck, where N64 was like building lots to be 4-player friendly, which was cool.
Speaking on the same 4-player co-op, couch co-op vibe, Mario Party.
There's another one to lose friendships.
Yeah, classic.
And skin on your palm when you're like spinning the amount of like controller blisters
that
from
hard plastic with the ridges on the stick.
Yeah, just
makes total sense. Yeah,
that was made for durability. That was not made for comfort. That was
no.
But like also that controller, I'm sorry,
indestructible.
That N64 controller is one of the worst designed controllers.
It's garbage
of all time. Why does it have 3 handhold spots? Like, why? Nobody here has 3 hands. Like, this makes no sense.
I think Nintendo was so caught up because prior to that, with the Super Nintendo and everything else, you only use the D-pad and then like the A/B buttons, and then now like this whole 3D stick world is available to you, not just the 4 cardinal directions. So like, we kind of need both, right? It's sort of like the PS5 having backwards compatibility features. Like that was what they did. They're like, well, we need one stick at least, but we still need the D-pad. So just fucking throw them all on there.
Yeah.
I know. It's just like, couldn't it be just closer?
To think now, you could have just moved it to the side and made like a little bump out.
There were a lot of games too, like even the yellow buttons,
like the C buttons. Yeah.
Like even a lot of the games never fucking use the C buttons either. So it's like, why are those there?
Press C up.
And then some of the games, if you try to go back and replay them, like the C buttons are like, they're so unintuitive. Yeah, they don't work very well at all.
That was a pretty
dumb control.
intense
I'm with
controller
Daryl on this one.
Dumb like,
controller.
It had so many features though, right? Because you still had the L and the R. You had the
Z button on the back.
Yeah, the Z on the back. Like, just a lot going on. There was a lot of ideas at Nintendo for that controller.
Okay, I got to hop in with one more first person, like a shooter based one that was actually more story based, and we're still waiting for another sequel. Half-Life.
Turok.
Turok.
Turok is also great, Jordan. Good call.
Fucking great call.
Half-Life. I remember getting I don't know what it was called. It was like the orange box set or something. You got like multiple games. There was like Half-Life. There was, the Half-Life Code Blue or something where you play as like one of the facility cops. You could play as a mercenary. There was all these different versions of it playing sort of like different viewpoints of the same story.
Yeah.
It was all so fun.
Cool.
It was really cool.
That's a franchise I missed, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm the same. I tried it. I could never get into it.
But people who love it fucking love it.
It's got a huge following.
Yeah.
And they did that Half-Life Alyx on VR, which is considered to be one of the best VR games ever. Like, it's actually a legitimate
out of all 10
story game. Yeah.
Out of all 10 of them.
It's the only one someone put like a lot of time and money into, because I mean, Valve and Steam just have unlimited money.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, shit, we're running out of money. Put on a Steam sale. Just boost those numbers up.
Okay. I think I'm just changing the categories as I go, just because I feel like it.
Fuck it.
Wow, there's that ADHD coming in full effect.
I just get good ideas and they come to me at random times. Third person action adventure. Because this is when, when controllers were starting to develop more, and we talked about it with the N64 controller and early, twin joystick PS1, PS2 era. There were some very, very big, like just whole new facets of games that came out. Specifically, like off the top of my head, I'm thinking like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Tomb Raider,
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, the late 90s had banger after banger. You have Banjo-Kazooie, you have
Spyro,
Metal Gear Solid,
Super Mario 64.
Super Mario.
Like the
Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
Hey, the introduction. I was like, I'm waiting. I And that's kind of it might be a different genre, but yeah, like if we're talking like that's the introduction to open world gaming. Was like were those type of titles like Mario 64 was like a fairly open world, like go through the doors to get to the places, but like we're talking like the first open world game. Final Fantasy 7 had an actual fucking globe to explore, like on PS1.
Yeah,
across 3 discs.
Yeah, but like, what game was doing that? Like,
That's
what other game had that? Where you could fly on an airship, ride chocobos through like different terrains, walk around as the person,
fight a fucking house.
What other game was doing that? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Revolutionary.
I mean, even a game like Grand Theft Auto at the time was still a bird's eye top down view. That game wasn't even fucking 3D yet.
Before GTA 3 came out.
Dude, Grand Theft Auto 2 is like still one of the like biggest like ingrained experiences in my brain from PC gaming of all time. Like going in, like driving your car from top down, going into the
on a Mattel mat
change shops, and just like coming out with a car a new color, and that's how you got away from the police. Like that doesn't work. But it did in that game, and I was like, this is amazing. Like I just remember shooting in circles, like killing all the people on the street and stuff. And it's like, man, that game lives rent free in my head forever.
But the crazy thing is the jump from GTA 2 to 3.
Yes.
Unreal.
Yeah, massive. Yeah,
Unreal.
Massive jump.
It's not even the same type of game.
No, not even close.
When I had like full voice acting and like a full 3D world that you could travel around in. Yeah, I mean, massive change.
And I mean, like GTA 3 came out 2001. But still, like you said, the jump between the two is like astronomical.
Well, it's funny. We got like 4 GTA games in a span of 10 years.
Yeah,
and then didn't get one for
20
Grand
years.
Theft Auto 5 to 6, we're probably going to wait 13 or 14 years.
Well, there's supposed to be announcements coming.
Ugh.
6 is coming, apparently.
That's what they say. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, no doubt. I was like, haven't they been saying that for like, I don't know, 10 years? Like,
yeah. They're making money hand over fist with GTA Online. I wouldn't be in a rush to make a sequel either.
No. They're doing the opposite of the Activision model.
Just pump it out.
Yeah.
Just pump it out. Get it out there. I don't give a shit.
They're like, we'll just keep letting this ride. And then Call of Duty's like, game. Oh, you bought DLC for the last one? Doesn't count anymore.
Fuck you. Buy it again.
Yeah. Buy it again. Oh, God.
That should be their slogan.
Fuck you. Buy it again.
Activision. Fuck you. Buy it again.
Buy it again.
Okay. To get us back on track, we're actually going to take a break.
Whoa. Already?
Yeah, it's been 30 minutes, bro. Today's segment is brought to you by Activision. Fuck you, buy another game. I'm just kidding.
Why do we never get sponsors, guys? What's going on?
Yeah. Why don't we get free games and stuff?
Today's segment is another episode of the Treasure Trove. Jordan?
Take it away.
Treasure Trove.
All right. This week's Treasure Trove is something that actually came off the PS Extra service. Was kind of combing through that a few weeks back, finding something new. And I stumbled across a game called Blasphemy. I don't know if any of you
have seen that several times.
Checked it out.
Never played it, but
yeah. So the box art catches my attention every time I scroll past it, and I'm always curious why, like what this game is about. Blasphemy 2 just came out, I think, back in October. So that's kind of what reignited my interest to look into this franchise, because the sequel looked really interesting. Basically, it's a 2D side scroller, very similar kind of art style and vibe to like Castlevania games.
Okay.
Back in the day, it's got a little bit of Dark Souls DNA, just with like really crazy boss fights. Pretty difficult encounters. But yeah, it follows like this whole Dante's Inferno, like, little bit of the horrors of religion.
Oh,
A
And
name like blasphemy.
yeah.
I
yeah,
think it's
yeah.
blasphemous. I think
Is it blasphemous?
it's
Okay.
blasphemous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay. Because I played the first Blasphemous, and that game was fucking weird.
yeah. So like it's definitely pretty heavy-handed, the story, and like honestly, to me that's the least interesting part of that game. The art style is super cool. I always find it really interesting when developers try and adapt like the Dark Souls DNA into different types of games. So like whether it be a 2D side scroller or like a dungeon roguelike game. It's always cool to see some variety in that area. So it's free on PS Extra if you're looking for something that's a little different. Purely just for the gameplay side. Like you're not going to come out of that game going, wow, oh, that was some real Last of Us
Hard hitting content.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to stick with you for very long, but it's free and pretty cool game. So check it out.
Blasphemous. Speak against your gods. Now, bringing it back, I'm gonna throw you guys a curveball.
Oh,
As one does.
Because my mind changed again, and I thought of some more
Oh
things.
God. Let's keep it cohesive, you guys. Let's really just hone this in, bring it in.
shiny.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah. Ooh, a bird.
Okay, so I think there's one aspect of the 90s that we are neglecting completely.
Squirrel. Sorry, go ahead, Kyle. My bad.
We're neglecting arcades and arcade-based games
That's
because
fair.
there are, I've said it once, I've said it again, there's some absolute bangers in the 90s in the arcade games.
Because they were
Gauntlet on there?
They were real games.
Yes,
that's the big thing. Is like that was
money, Daryl.
if you didn't
Right
have
on
it
the
on
money.
N64, you could go and play it. It's not like now where you go to an arcade.
Yeah.
Half of it's like mobile games made on a big screen.
Ugh, awful.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I took my son to an arcade.
I don't want to play some rip-off version of fucking Flappy Bird on like a big screen.
Exactly.
To gamble for
It wasn't. It's not
tokens.
great.
No.
Yeah, but back when arcades were like where the like video game, where was that? Daryl, like you said, Gauntlet Legends came out in 1998.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
so
Wicked
good.
game.
So good.
yes. Trevor and I put a lot of hours into that on rental. When we
There's like the
when it was
Dungeons
on
and
N64,
Dragons game
but
too, isn't there? Like, isn't
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that shit was good too.
Again, we've talked about it before, but like side scroller beat 'em up games were massively popular.
Final
Dragon.
Fight, Double Dragon,
Yeah, Punisher,
Ninja Turtles, X-Men.
Street,
Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
Trevor,
Trevor,
time.
Trevor, that
Battletoads.
X-Men game,
Oh,
that like the arcade game, that X-Men game brings me back like
Yeah.
countless times when we went to go see a movie at like Northland Mall
Oh,
Theater
God.
or something. Yeah,
yeah.
back when that existed, and they had, it wasn't even like a 4-person arcade machine; it was a 6.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I think it was 6.
You're
Maybe it
probably
was
there to
4.
see the Pokemon movie. That's you're welcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also
Daryl,
like
that Battletoads meets Double Dragon
So
combo game, like,
So
dude,
good.
like, fuck, what a mashup of a game that you would never ask for, but
No.
they gave it to you anyway, and you're like, this fucking works.
Somebody was stoned at that board
Yeah.
meeting. Was like, "Hey,
I always wondered, was that like
wait. What if we put the Battletoads with Double Dragon?" And the guy was like,
fuck it?
"What are those games? Should we do it, Bill? Should we do that?" Fucking do it.
I always wondered, was that like weird licensing where just some parent company just happened to own the rights to different characters? Because like same thing, like when you had Marvel vs. Capcom, like all that shit, right?
That
like
was
all those,
another one I was going to bring up.
like the fighting game, also unreal, right? Killer Instinct,
Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 2 in arcade. I played a ton of Tekken back in the arcade days.
Original Soul Calibur. Let's go.
Yeah. So I actually have, sorry, Kyle, to interrupt, but I actually have a very, like, this arcade memory is something that I think about often. But back in the old West Edmonton Mall days,
back when it was new.
Back when it was new and exciting.
It was clean.
And it didn't smell like piss.
Or a bunch of hobos swimming around in the pool with the seal.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
No, unfortunately. Their arcade, they had like a state-of-the-art Tekken like fighting arena, but it was motion capture.
What?
And
oh my God.
So I was blown away when I saw this in action. They would put two people into like this little circle on the floor, and then they would strap a couple sensors to your arms and to your legs, and then and you could punch and kick, and the Tekken character on the screen would do the same thing.
That's insane.
It blew my fucking mind as a kid. Like, and I never got the chance to like step in there and get the stuff on and try it. But I was just like,
that sounds incredible.
Jaw dropped to the floor, mesmerized. Just like,
you can do that?
We have adult money now. We need to find if these things still exist.
This is going to end up with someone like with an Oculus on their face with the sticks in their hand, just punching the other person, like actually. Like that's the only way this is going to end.
And who knows? Who knows?
But Your Honor, I had the Oculus on. I didn't know what I was punching.
It was
in VR, sir.
Yeah.
So immersive.
It felt so real.
It felt so real.
Okay, I have one more like arcade throwback games for you. Light gun games. But not like the shitty on rails, yes.
House of the Dead.
But House of the Dead 2 is one. The other one, do you remember it?
Splitters.
Close.
Oh.
Time Crisis.
There it is.
Oh, yes.
It came with the pedal that you could like duck for cover and reload and pop up. It was so good.
That's a money sink at all of the movie theater arcades for me. That Time Crisis.
So good.
I don't even like shooting games, but I fucked with Time Crisis.
It's a different kind of shooting game, right?
Yeah. Did you guys ever play the Jurassic Park one? That was like that at the movie theater.
You're in the car. You're getting chased by the T-Rex. You gotta shoot it. Yeah.
And you gotta shoot it.
I played that with my son at a movie, like the movie theater.
Yeah, they still make it.
There's still another version of it. He had a fucking blast.
No pun intended.
But
and then there's the classics of like Big Buck Hunter, right? Like the
that's true.
I kind of just like, want to buy a Big Buck Hunter machine at some point. Like that's like my stupid. If I for some reason like come into a bunch of money and I'm like, well, what do I do with it? I'm buying a Big.
I'm not going to tell anybody, but there will be signs.
Yeah. Shout out to my buddy Justin, who actually does have like his own sort of pseudo arcade in his house.
Oh my God.
Big Buck Hunter, 2 pinball machines, Mortal Kombat,
sick.
Like Ninja Turtles arcade.
I want home arcade money.
Yeah.
Even
if
pinball.
I could have a pinball,
Arcade One Up.
Yeah.
You should sponsor us. Like
there are some sick
we're your
pinball
exact
machines.
Clientele. We're the people you want. Like we're pushing this product out.
We'll promote the hell out of it for you.
One more that might be overlooked for arcades that it pops up again and again in popular media. If you ever seen the movie Grandma's Boy, DDR.
Yeah.
DDR is. I remember I never would participate because it was like, fuck that.
It's a dumb game, but
insane. But somehow,
I didn't think Daryl got his moves.
Hey, I stand by that, Daryl.
No, I'm not good at it. But my friend Brett is amazing at DDR. So it's like unbelievable.
Have you guys seen the new variant of DDR? Where like the whole floor is touch sensor, and it's like
a shuffle.
It's like shuffle dancing.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's cool.
It's intense, but it's like same thing. Just the progression of technology from like spots that you can touch to like the whole thing being touch sensitive.
I would be better at that one if I don't have to hit the actual part of the pad. If I can just groove and move
and hope for the best.
I'm ready to go.
And now
these hips don't lie, man. Let me fly.
And now we have people at home using DDR pads to play Elden Ring.
I mean, what else are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, what else?
Yeah.
People are using weird, like somebody beat that game with a Guitar Hero guitar.
I mean, I'm surprised there isn't one that's like, I mean, I guess there's like the Just Dance, like motion capture stuff from like Nintendo.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there isn't just like an arcade game of like TikTok and fucking Fortnite dances. Like
I'm sure that exists in some capacity.
No one's like checking the accuracy of like how I whip and how I nay. Like no one's got a game for that. Like it doesn't exist. Because it fucking should. That's $1 million idea.
When I go to Japan next year, Trev, I'll look for you. Because if any place is gonna have something like that,
that's it.
It's gonna be fucking Japan for sure.
Oh my
you
god!
Got the super stanky leg.
Double points.
Like raid suits. Like, oh, your whip wasn't in the middle; it was too far up. No, that's
that wasn't a whip. That was a nay.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
What about platformers, Kyle? The 90s are littered with them.
Littered.
Platformers.
Where do you start?
There's
like
so many.
Super Mario World is
Super Mario World is one of the greatest games ever made, ever.
Yeah, ever.
If you go 3D,
Super
like
Mario
you got Spyro, you've got Crash.
Super Mario World is better than Super Mario 64.
I think so.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like 64 had the
3D.
And it had the novelty of being the first 3D game, but like top to bottom, Mario World is a better
Mario
game.
World is
even just like the secrets built in and like warp.
It's like a chef's kiss game, man. It's got everything.
Yeah.
Ooh, Donkey Kong Country.
Boss fights.
Yeah. That game was
those fucking
hard. Way harder than I remember.
Cars. Oh man,
so hard.
Oh god,
I get like a mini heart attack just thinking about those fucking train cars.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on like Lion King and Aladdin and like those Disney games that were like
Aladdin.
Hey,
funny how much those come up, eh?
We're a company built on shows for little kids, and we're gonna put games out for these same little kids. But we're gonna make them impossible to beat for even like adults.
We're gonna
play
steal their money.
Like,
ooh, I got a throwback one for you guys. Earthworm Jim.
Oh fuck yes!
I love Earthworm Jim.
Yes.
Like, where is that franchise? We need Earthworm Jim to come back.
Speaking of like worms, like that was the first.
Worms?
The 90s was Worms. Like that was when Worms first came out.
Combat.
Yeah.
The turn-based
Worms,
like,
Armageddon
blow shit
or
up
whatever.
combat.
Yes.
Oh, fuck, it's so good.
I mean, I'd be I'd have to retire from this show if I didn't mention Mega Man X.
Who?
In that space.
Huh?
Yeah.
What? I've never heard of that before.
I got my Final Fantasy 7 punch. You better get your Mega Man one.
Yeah. Like that game is one of the best platformers on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And it factored in hidden secrets and like Metroidvania, having to go back to other levels once you upgraded, and now you can get to an area you couldn't access before. Like, yeah. So much good stuff.
We should better talk about like some of the other consoles. Like, gotta bring up Sonic.
Fucking Nintendo all day.
Sonic and like the underwater levels where you're like.
That's where our anxiety came from as kids.
Yeah.
The Ninja Turtles underwater level. Oh my god.
Yikes.
Do you remember? Did you ever play a game called like Shinobi?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Hard
the
as
first
fuck.
one, but the second one.
Hard as fuck.
Isn't that like with like Ninja Gaiden and stuff too? Just like fucking impossible.
Close. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like we would be at like Trevor and I used to go to like a day home before school, and they had a Sega, and playing we'd be there on a PD day and playing Shinobi, and the game was just so fucking hard, and like just some of the stuff like that. I mean, I was probably like 7 or 8, but just the dodging and everything. I have distinct memories of that game, and if they made like a remastered sort of Shinobi version.
Can you imagine trying to give Shinobi to one of your kids today?
Oh God,
they would Hulk smash your console.
Yeah,
I am kind of tempted to find like a Super Nintendo Mini,
like a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah,
just one of those.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna, well, I have one I think somewhere, but it's not like.
I mean, you can borrow my regular Nintendo Mini or my Super Nintendo Mini.
Interesting.
You also have a Switch, which has like a whole fucking retro catalog, but maybe not as much.
But
it's not the same though.
It's not the same. I know what
Kyle.
The controller.
Yeah, I know what
I need you to have a little
physical.
Yeah,
I need you to have a little plank of wood with some buttons on it. That's your controller.
Yeah,
like, fuck you.
I just like I want them to like experience gaming in that way too. Because like so far it's been like Mario Kart and some mobile phone games.
Witness the evolution,
which are just like little kid gambling.
Yes,
which I don't particularly like. So,
did you guys ever play the old like Avengers, like beat 'em up
Ultimate
games?
Alliance?
No. That it would have been before that on the Super Nintendo. But they had like an Avengers. It was kind of like X-Men Apocalypse. Very similar style of game, but it had Iron Man and
I think I played that.
Had Vision, Hawkeye. Yeah.
Namor.
I played that game a ton too. Really enjoyed that.
I'm gonna throw one on a left field for you.
That's what you've been doing all fucking night. So
I know it's great. This one's gonna
baseball
bring windows. This one's gonna bring Trevor back as well.
Oh,
and I know he's gonna have a great reaction to it. Is The Legend of Monkey Island?
Oh fuck yes! The classic PC point and click games were awesome.
Oh, so good.
Loom,
between like
Monkey Island.
I mean, there was some infuriating ones like Myst.
Oh fuck,
or Riven.
Hey,
it's like I don't know.
Myst was hype.
This was great. It was just hard as shit because it didn't quite make sense.
Yeah.
Same with Loom. Some of the
it.
stuff in Loom was pretty difficult.
Yeah, that was tough.
That's another one that I missed. I was playing on. I was playing PC. It was like a math adventures game back in that day.
Nerd.
I know, right? And it was like a space adventure game, but it was all math equations.
I remember that too. That was like
Math Blaster.
Computer.
That's it.
Math Blaster.
Fuck.
That was at the one IBM computer at my elementary school.
Yeah.
Well, was it 90s or pre-90s? I mean, we have to talk. Oh God, now it's gone.
It's gone.
Oregon Trail.
Yes, thank you. One game you could play at school. Oregon Trail.
Yeah. You died every time.
Yeah. Maybe some Lemmings.
Always dysentery
at my school.
That was so funny. Like Lemmings,
number munchers,
and a couple other ones where you had to like write the passwords for the levels.
Lemmings was so hype.
Yeah. Couldn't save it locally, so you had to punch in the password for where you were in the game.
Yeah. This has just been like a sheer reminiscent episode.
Yeah.
Wow. And I mean, we haven't even talked about everything. It was like Chrono Cross. Like
Chrono Trigger.
All of Final Fantasy.
Well, I think in that era, in the 90s, I think I don't know if 3 in there.
I think so. It depends on how you're counting.
3, I think, is the start. So 3 would have been like 1990 or 1991.
Like
3 had 90. To have been
90.
And then 4, 5, 6, which like 6 is arguably the highest rated Final Fantasy game of all time by the fans of Final Fantasy. 7 and then 8, I think, is 99. So I think that's the end of that era.
And when we get to the end of the 90s too, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the first one.
Yep.
Which again was groundbreaking at the time and had the most fucking banger soundtrack between that one and the second one.
That's got to be one of the first games that had like a true soundtrack that I can think of.
Yeah.
Like maybe
Yeah,
Yeah,
1080
not just, like,
snowboarding,
tones and
like the year before 1080 maybe had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
But
had
not quite like
also-
actual music, right? Like actual artists in it.
Yeah.
yeah, this was like voiced lyrics and not just tones and
Songs you hear on the actual radio.
Gran Turismo 1 and 2. Oh,
Yeah.
99 also had arguably the best that Pokemon has ever been with
Gold and Silver.
Gold and Silver.
Yeah.
Like,
That's-
I don't think we've had better Pokemon since.
No, that's still
1999.
one of my top like 10 games for sure.
Yeah, it's one of my top 10 games of all time.
Yeah.
I have played those probably over 50 times a piece.
I always include it because it is like red and blue to me are always like that's what got it started. I didn't even have a Game Boy handheld until like way later. I didn't play red and blue till way later. But I used to screw around on my friends that did have the Game Boy and just let me play for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I want this. Like, this is insane. This is incredible. It was so hype. But I was too busy ripping kids off for Pokemon cards on the schoolyard.
Like
Hustle.
Pokemon in the
Always
streets.
be hustling.
Yeah.
I was hustling.
Yeah.
But like Gold and Silver, just everything just felt better. Like it was just
Yeah. And that game looked great
it
at the
did.
time
It
too.
added a ton of features. You pretty much got
Mhm.
Next Game Plus. You got to play 2 games.
Yeah.
They added the entire map of the first game
Yeah.
into this one as an after.
I feel like that
Like-
was an expansion of just like how much can we fit on one of these
Crazy.
little cards? Like how much data can we put on it? Like, fuck it,
Yeah.
put the whole
Yeah.
game on there.
It was awesome. It was fantastic. Yeah. Upgraded the
Yeah.
roster of Pokemon and
I was happy.
obviously I just wanted Charmander. Like that's
Well,
always
I mean,
but
of course.
but-
Totodile though, like that's the intro Totodile, and
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, he's kick ass too. One of my tops.
for Alligator is a good time.
The like I remember Red and Blue. Like I'm same as Daryl. I didn't have a Game Boy back then, and I remember I got I got chewed out by my parents because I borrowed a Game Boy from a buddy of mine at school, and they caught me playing the Game Boy in bed when I was supposed to be sleeping, and they were fucking livid because it wasn't mine, and so I didn't get one until like the Gold Silver era. So that's kind of where I like started to dive in. Was
I
pretty
remember
late.
bringing Blue to school and playing at recess.
Yeah, you had the brick, Kyle, the full size original Nintendo Clear.
Oh, dang.
big Game
yeah,
Boy.
that's
It went hard.
yeah, oh yeah.
And then I
That thing
got
got a lot of use.
I got a
thing
mini.
fucks.
I've almost had every generation of a Game Boy. Because I had the mini. I didn't get the
missed it.
color. I skipped the color, but I got the original Advance, the flip,
DS.
the flip one. No, the flip it,
Yeah.
the Game Boy
Oh,
Advance.
yeah.
So I had the one just
The
before
SP.
that. I had
Isn't that the SP?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
the
SP.
advanced
So I had
SP.
the
Yeah,
original Game Boy Advance. That was like the purple one.
The wide,
Like,
yeah,
Mhm.
the one
Yeah.
that kind of looked like a PSP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I missed that one, and I had the one that Trevor had. I had the flip.
I think it was wicked.
The SP.
It was so cool.
Yeah, I love that one.
Backlit
Okay,
screen.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
oh my
I don't-
god! I have to buy the
Game
extra
Gear.
attachment that has the
Yeah.
magnifying glass and the light on it. And
I had that. I had a lime green Game Boy Color with the fucking magnifying flip
Oh my
over with
God.
the light. I now know why my eyes are getting fucked
Yeah.
in my 30s. It's from
So you were
using
sitting.
shit like
Your
that.
parents were right. Sitting too close. It just
in the
I
pitch
mean-
dark
Yeah.
in bed
Yeah.
to the
with this
CRT
thing
yeah.
to
this
the
close to your
CRT
face.
TV. Just like
Yeah. Or playing in the
that's
car on
better.
a road trip and having
Exactly.
to wait for every street
Yeah,
light.
that's what I was gonna say.
Angled up the
Street lights
window.
to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
kids just don't know these
Okay.
days.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
The things that we used to do to play
Get our
games.
fix.
Okay,
Bunch
so
of fucking addicts over here.
it's no different than phones now. Let's be honest.
It's true.
I Actually,
loves
phones
my
are worse.
games.
Kyle,
Yeah.
got any more of that Call of Duty?
Okay, so I'm gonna pose a question for you guys,
Is it out of left field?
and no,
Or is
no,
it
it's
in
right
right
down.
field?
It's right down
Is
the
it a
pipe.
curveball?
No, it's a fastball down the pipe.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Outside of your main games that we know you've talked about and we know you've loved from the 90s,
Ooh.
pick a sleeper hit that you think needs more attention.
Demon's Crest.
I feel like you've
Demon's
talked
Crest.
about that one already. Doesn't
Really?
count.
No, I haven't.
I've never heard Jordan mention
I
that
know
game.
you have.
Nope.
I was listening to an episode the other day where you were talking about it.
Well, I'm bringing it up again anyway. I don't give
All
a
right,
shit.
Demon's Crest. That's fine.
Demon's Crest is so good. It's a spin-off of Castlevania, but you play one of the villains from Castlevania. He's the main character in Demon's Crest.
Mm.
That game is incredible. It looks amazing even back then. It's hard as shit. I've never beaten that game. I've replayed it many times over the years, never beat it. But it even had like an overworld. So to fly to it, you had to fly to a different region, and it went from 2D side scroller to like a top down, almost 3D view as you would go from location to location.
Cool.
Like,
Okay.
and that was Super Nintendo. Like that was crazy to me back then.
Daryl, sleeper hit from the 90s.
I have two. I've talked about it. One, I talked about this recently that I want another one. But Bloody Roar was like such a good game. Such
Is
a
that
good
a
game.
90s game too?
It is. Yeah, 1997.
Damn.
And the other one that I absolutely love, and I love any reference of it that ever comes up, whether it's us or like anything pop culture, is Parappa the Rapper.
Oh, fuck
Like,
yes.
I absolutely love that game. So,
One of the first original like rhythm games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw something on Instagram like 2 days ago about Parappa the Rapper.
I love Parappa the Rapper. That game was
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Just such a
Yeah,
like the dog with the
What
fucking
a weird
tube.
game.
Like everything about it. is
All
just
the characters were so wild, and it was like, but it was so fun. Like, it was actually such a good game.
Isn't there some kind of like sensei character that's an onion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
of
correct.
course. Why wouldn't there be?
Okay. Okay. So that wasn't that wasn't
I'm not
like
saying
a,
it made sense. I'm just
No.
saying
It
it
existed.
just
seems
know
like a
if-
fever dream,
Yeah.
but it was
yeah,
real.
I didn't know if that was a fever dream of mine or if that's actually a,
No, it's real.
okay. Well, that's good. Good to know.
Trevor?
As someone who like modern games, I fucking hate sports games. The one that we've also forgotten to talk about in terms of the greatest couch co-op games, look at NBA Jam.
Hey, Jam.
Yeah.
Like great couch
Yeah.
co-op.
Is he check
You have
time?
the sweet scroll wheel before the games to get the different secrets. So you like big head
Mhm,
mode or
mhm.
like always on fire, like just the random.
That's true.
Like that game
And
was
that's a great arcade game, too.
just so much fun. Like, and that led into
My-
NBA Street and all those games too, right? But like, it was just such a fun game.
My dad stopped playing NBA Jam with his three boys because my two older brothers figured out what the dunk from half court cheat
Oh,
code
gosh.
was. And so anytime he challenged them to play, they just kept dunking from half court. And basically in the nicest parent way possible, he was like, fuck you guys, I'm done.
Yeah. Bullshit.
I'm not playing this anymore.
Never playing you again. Yeah.
Oh my
All right,
God.
Kyle, take us home.
Hold on. Fuck.
Everyone took Kyle's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to home
and
base, Kyle. Let's run us down the straight with this World Series of puns you've had today.
Yeah. Don't get stranded at fucking second base.
I don't want any
on
errors.
We don't
I hate
like
you
things
guys.
being half finished here. Okay, we like to finish fully.
Are we doing phrasing?
Everyone finishes or
Phrasing-
nobody
phrasing.
finishes.
Always. we're always doing phrasing, Kyle.
Okay. This one was like a niche sort of game. There's two very distinct ones, one of which actually got like a major TV franchise that recently released, and the other was like a sort of an N64 adaptation. Very good, Daryl.
Yeah.
Twisted Metal was the first one, but can you name the other one?
Sorry, what was the other clue?
So it's another vehicular combat game.
Wasn't there a Burnout
No.
spin-off of some kind?
It was another like
F-Zero.
You know, everybody had their own sort of like personality, and their car went with it.
That's literally
Whatever
every
it
game.
is. I'm pretty sure I've played it.
Oh yeah,
I can't-
100% you played it.
I can't think of the name though.
Destruction All-Stars from the PS5.
Vigilante 8.
Oh, I forgot about Vigilante. Fuck, that game was great.
We played the shit out of like that one and the sequel, both like on N64. Twisted Metal, Vigilante 8, both.
Daryl, I don't know what just happened, but Daryl hit another level there. Something kicked in.
Oh my god, Daryl.
Daryl found something on his screen.
I have to see if this game is from the 90s. Yeah, 1999.
Nice.
What?
Driver.
Yeah.
Oh,
You want to play
yeah.
Driver? That game was so good.
hard.
Yeah, but it was so good. Oh, I love that game.
Was Driver the one that had the tutorial in the parkade and
Yes.
and that was hard as shit?
Yes.
Okay.
But once you got past that and you got to do the actual missions, like that game was wicked.
Yeah.
We're the getaway driver. Like that game was
That's
nice.
so
It had
cool.
actual car damage. Like
you just had to get past the tutorial.
yeah,
Yeah. The tutorial was the end boss.
great
Yeah,
game.
basically.
Yeah.
Bring back more of those like driving games, man. Like
Getaway
Not
driver.
every-
Games with personality.
not
Yeah.
everything needs to be Gran Turismo or Forza. You
No.
know?
Give me something, with some
Let's mix it up a
something
bit.
quirky.
Yeah.
Yeah, unicycle
Like,
racers.
Fucking anything. Right?
Uniracers, don't you dare slander the name of Uniracers. Okay? Uniracers was a great game. That's like one of the ones that like I rented probably 20 times. Like I absolutely loved that game.
What was like the?
Maybe we need like an e-scooter racing game now.
Simpsons Hit and Run too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so many good ones.
Crazy Taxi.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say Crazy Taxi was
Taxi.
also
Yeah.
What was
that
the
was
one
like
that was like-
That was
Dreamcast
an
era.
arcade favorite.
There was
too.
one that was
Yeah.
like Tron. Was it a Tron game, or there was one where you were on like is it like Light Cycle or something? Oh fuck! What game was that? There was one that was essentially
I'm
Tron,
not sure.
but you were on like motorbikes. But that one game was also wicked. I don't even know what year that came out. I don't even know what game I'm talking about. Just gonna throw that out there.
So guys, I'm gonna need to cap this shit.
we could
because
go
It's a
for
walk
The
off.
series
Oh my
is
God.
over.
It's a walk off.
it's a grand slam.
We're going back to the dugout. It's over.
We won the pennant.
maybe to finish it off, everybody pick what's the year in the 90s. What if you had to pick a year?
So anyway, I will
Fuck
put this.
you.
I will put this up on the screen. If you're on like Spotify, I know on Spotify you'll be able to see the video version of this. iTunes, I'm not sure if it supports the video. And then this has been on our Instagram. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it as well. So this is like
It's
kind of the top 7 games of each year, and that's what we're looking at.
Are you putting it up?
Well, I will, and when I edit shit,
When he edits this. Thanks, Kyle. Way to clue in.
I thought you were putting it up on the screen.
I don't
now,
know how you
so
think
I
this
have
works, Kyle. But what magic buttons I have over here, but
I can share screen. Can you?
yeah, but I don't know how that affects the recording.
Guys, it's
That
been a
was
rough
awesome.
day.
Post-production.
That was great.
Post-production
That was
stuff.
It's
great.
been a rough day.
It's been a weird day.
All right. Who's Daryl? Go
I'll
first.
Go for it, Daryl.
I'm 97. It's got to be 97. I don't want to pick a year. I think 94 has also got a lot of absolute bangers on there, but yeah, it's gonna have to be 97 for me. That's Diablo. That's Final Fantasy I think that's 7.
Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
The ones I have on our list here. So 97, you got Final Fantasy 7, Star Fox 64, Age of Empires,
Yeah.
GoldenEye,
GoldenEye.
Star Wars Dark
Forces.
Fallout, and Tekken 3 are like some of the key.
It's also Bloody Roar 1.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is, that's, yeah. I'm 97. 97.
I'm going to jump. Go, Kyle.
Yeah, go Trevor.
Okay.
Go Trevor. Fuck you.
My runner-up, like Daryl did, my runner-up would probably be 98. So like Ocarina of Time, StarCraft, Banjo-Kazooie, Spyro, 1080, like just fucking awesome year. I have to go with 96. Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, and Pokemon Red and Blue were pretty much things I played for like 5 to 10 years after they came out. Like,
Your childhood.
yes, those 3 games were my entire childhood.
Fair. Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm picking 99.
Ooh, just because of Tony Hawk.
With,
Tony Hawk.
well, not just Tony Hawk, but like Roller Coaster Tycoon, Counter-Strike, Unreal Tournament.
Silent Hill.
I respect it. That's when Legend of Dragoon came out. I respect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a runner-up of 95.
Ooh,
Because Chrono Trigger and Warcraft 2.
that's true. Big
It's
big time
it's a good year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Jordan, bring us home here.
I gotta do 98. There's just so many games on that list that I have sunk an insane amount of hours into. Ocarina of Time, Soul Calibur, Resident Evil 2, and then StarCraft for me. That's
We all know you hate StarCraft, so
Hey. That's a core childhood memory for me, is going to Future Shop at Northland Mall. I had saved up $100 to get the battle chest that came with the expansion, and I shoveled snow and mowed lawns, and I walked in with my $100 and I got the StarCraft battle chest, and I mean, that was it for me. I played the shit out of that.
I remember someone burned me a copy of Brood Wars.
We pretty much played the pirated StarCraft.
I don't own any of the actual copies of the first several Warcraft or StarCraft games. No. I only own burned copies of those games.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to steal games back in the day.
Well, and those games were great because they had the multiplayer side of it where you could play created games.
Oh, so good.
So like I played Dragon Ball Z RPGs on StarCraft. Yes. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Card battling games, tower defense shit.
That's my favorite. I love that in Warcraft 2. The tower defense ones.
Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3 were unreal for like custom modes.
Yeah. Yeah, the tower defense games in those RTS were, I'm happy the games back then didn't have a time counter, because I would be scared to know how many hours I've put into those. Yeah.
I also turned every like LAN party when we played Warcraft 3 with my buddies into my own tower defense game. Like everyone else was building their armies and their heroes, and I was building as many towers around my castle as possible.
Pure defense,
just to screw with people when their Zeppelin would come, to see what was there and get shot down immediately.
Yeah, so good.
Well, defense wins championships.
Yeah, yep.
I never won. Guys, it didn't work.
I think that wraps it up. I enjoyed reminiscing with you guys, going down memory lane, hitting a home run of decisions. The bases were loaded, but we did it.
Don't know why this took such a baseball turn.
Why I went baseball metaphors today, but it's fine. It's fine. Once again, we appreciate you listening to our bullshit, and I think that was good enough.
Good enough.
Good thing Kyle didn't foul out. Good enough.
That would be good enough.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more content. We also invite you to write an email or join us on Discord to talk about anything from our episodes or something else you would like to discuss in the future. Please subscribe to the Good Enough Gaming Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen to your podcasts. And remember, we might not be great, but we are good enough.